it's Hailey, and today I'm going to be talking about just some books that I really want to read soon. So I do like a lot of TBR videos. I do monthly TBRs and I do seasonal TBRs, but sometimes there are some books that like just don't really fit into any of those lists, and I don't formally put them on a list, but they are books that have been standing out to me lately and books that I have really wanted to read, but I just haven't really talked about them. So I thought this video would be a fun idea and a fun way for me to be able to discuss those books a little bit more. By the way, my chest is red because I just scratched it, so I'm sorry. You guys always ask like as if I don't know what's happening, but no, I literally just scratched it. We are fine. So essentially all of the books that I'm going to be talking about today, they aren't books that I have included on any of my monthly TBRs or seasonal TBRs. They're just books that like I have really been interested in, and I don't know why, but they have just been kind of sticking out to me, and I hope I will be able to squeeze them in somewhere, but I don't know, we shall see. It's actually a lot of like fantasy and stuff like that because I'm moving. I want something easy that I can read right now, so I haven't really been planning to read any of that. But without further ado, let's just get into the books. So the first book I want to talk about is Early Departures by Justin A. Reynolds. So I actually just filmed a video where I was talking about books that I think that you need to read, and I was talking about Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds there, which I just was totally blown away with. Like, I had such a great time reading that one, and since then I have wanted to read more of his writing, and that, like, talking about it then just reminded me of that. So Early Departures is kind of like his previous book in the way that it is a contemporary but with a twist. There's something a little bit magical, sci-fi, something different. So in this case it also deals with someone losing someone. In the other book it was with a girlfriend, but in this it is the best friend, and there's this service that has come out that will like allow people who have died to come back to life for a short period of time. So they ended on bad terms, so he really wants to have the opportunity to apologize and have that second chance. And I think that this is definitely going to be like emotional and a lot to read, but I also feel like it's going to be really great. Like, I loved the writing in Opposite of Always, so more of Justin A. Reynolds' writing is exactly what I need, and I think this concept sounds really unique and very cool. Definitely like one that is going to be a heartbreaker, but I think I will be better for having read it. So I do love a good heartbreaker. I love books that are emotional, so I think this is going to be just a fantastic one. Is there like one hair on my head that, yes there is. Wait, no, where do you go? There we go. I could just like see it in the viewfinder and I was confused as I literally put it back again. Anyways, moving on. Next up is The Infinity Quartz by Akemi Don Bowman. This is once again a book that has a very unique concept, which is why I think I've been so drawn to it. So this is a sci-fi kind of story because the main character, her life is great, everything's going well, she's about to graduate, she's super happy, and then she ends up dying on the way to a graduation party. So that obviously is a problem. So when she dies, she goes to the Infinity Quartz, which actually is a place that your consciousness goes when your physical body dies. So the Infinity Quartz has this AI that is controlling it, and they are trying to like take over, and they are trying to eradicate human existence. So it seems like a really interesting and high stakes story, like nothing I was expecting. I don't think I've ever really heard of anything like this before, and I want to know more. Like, this AI is trying to get back at humans for just ordering it around all the time. Like, what? I don't know what to make of that, but it sounds really interesting. Next up is A Faux Love Story by Lone Lee. So I have talked about this book quite a bit recently, and I just have never actually picked it up, but I think it sounds amazing. It is about rival Vietnamese restaurants, and it's like a Romeo and Juliet sort of thing in that way, because the daughter and son of each of these rival restaurants end up falling in love, which obviously is going to be a little bit of a problem. So I might have actually read this by the time you see this video, because I'm kind of debating picking it up like this weekend, because I'm trying to stick to books where I have the audiobook for it, so then I can alternate between physically reading and audio while I'm packing or whatever. But I don't know why I just haven't picked it up until now, like, or thought about really picking it up until now, because I have wanted to read it since I've had it. So it does seem like time. So maybe I will read it now. I don't know though. We'll see. Next up is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. So this is the book that you have seen everywhere. And honestly, I was really close to picking it up. I almost did, but instead I ended up picking up Crescent City. And then I was really close again, but then I found out about the move and I was like, no, because I need time to dedicate to this one. So I haven't gotten the chance to read it yet, but this is the ever popular adult fantasy about Addie LaRue, who she sells her soul to the devil in exchange to live forever. But the consequence of that is that she will be forgotten by everyone she ever meets. And I feel like there's the opportunity for so many plot holes there. I am not sure about this one, but I feel the pressure because like so many people have loved it. And I feel like when that happens, a lot of times I don't like the books, but we'll see. I'm gonna keep an open mind and hopefully be able to squeeze it in sometime soon, like before the summer is over or before the year is over even. Next up is The Passion of Dulce by Julie Berry. So you might recognize Julie Berry because I read Lovely War last year and it was my favorite book of 2020. And I haven't read her, I don't know if this is her first book, but I haven't read anything else by her and it feels weird that I haven't. This is definitely like the only other historical fiction she has, but this is actually set in like the 1400s, so a really long time ago, and you follow a girl who is on the run because she is being threatened to be burnt at the stake for being a witch, like a heretic, I think. Okay, yeah, it is to burn for heresy. So she is like running away, she is helpless, and I've heard amazing things about this book, to be honest. Like before I even heard anything about Lovely War, I was hearing all of the hype surrounding this book. So I really don't know what my hesitation has been in picking this one up. Like, I don't know if I'm just worried I'm not gonna like it or what, but it definitely for months now has been one that I'm like, I should read that. I want to read that, and then I just don't. So I don't know why I'm like this. Next up is A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. So this is actually set in Toronto, which is awesome. I love reading books that are set in Canada, and the author is actually Canadian as well, which is awesome. And this also features a lot of queer characters, and it is a fantasy that I think it's about fae. So yeah, so it's about a half fae character. So it kind of seems like it's going to be like a little bit like The Cruel Prince in that way, in that it's like an urban fantasy where you have fae, but also the modern world. And that was one of my favorite things about The Cruel Prince. I'd never really read anything with that like combination. Most fantasy fae reads that I had read were high fantasy, and I thought that was really interesting. So I think this one could do a really good job of it as well. And I haven't really read all that many fae books either, like in total. So I would like to add more to my collection, and I have heard some really amazing things about this one, so it has been one that has been sticking out to me lately, but it's just so big that I haven't gotten the chance to get to it. Next up is The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. So as I have been really into the emotional contemporaries, which I mean really, I kind of always am, this is one that I keep on gravitating towards. It has been out for a very long time and it has some decent popularity. Like I feel like I had seen it around quite a bit. This is a new cover though, and it's a lot cuter, but this follows a girl who her boyfriend dies and she's going back to school to show that she's okay. Like she's finally going back to school, but to show that she's okay, she decides that she's going to find a boyfriend to prove everything is fine. So I think this is for sure going to be an emotional read. Obviously, like you have a character dealing with terrible grief and trying to bounce back from that especially, but those emotional contemporaries tend to be the ones that I feel like I enjoy the most. So I have just been like eager to pick this one up, but other books have just gotten in the way in between. Next up is Angel of Greenwood by Randi Pink. So I picked up this book fairly recently in my Come Book Shopping With Me online video, and it is one that had been sticking out to me before I even owned it. I was really eager to order a copy of it, and then now that I finally have, I have really wanted to pick it up. So this is a historical fiction and it is set during Black Wall Street, which was this terrible event where vicious white mobs ended up storming the community of Greenwood in in Oklahoma and just absolutely terrorizing Black people. So it seems like it's going to be such a difficult read, but I think that those are my favorite, are the ones that make me think, that I have a hard time with, and that make me emotional and teach me more about history. So this is an event that happened in the 1920s, and I have read one book about it before, but I am excited to see that there's another one. I'm excited to see more diverse YA historical fiction coming out, so it has for sure been sticking out to me on my TBR. Next up is Yoke by Mary H.K. Choi. Now, I could not really explain to you why this book has been standing out to me so much, because I read the first book by this author and I just wasn't really a fan of it. It wasn't my personal taste. So I don't know why this new book I have been so drawn toward, but I really have. So I ended up actually receiving a copy of this. I don't remember if I don't think I requested it. I think it came in a book box or something. But this follows sisters, and they are estranged, and they end up coming together because the one sister has been diagnosed with cancer or leukemia. I don't remember in particular, and it doesn't actually say here, but she's been diagnosed with an illness that is terminal, and in order to get like medical care, they're committing insurance fraud. So it seems like it's going to be a lot, really interesting, and once again, a unique kind of concept. I think that's what's been standing out to me lately, is books that just seem like something that hasn't been done before, or a different twist on something that I've seen done before. So I think this one, once again, we're gonna have some emotions here, and that's just, I guess, what I'm looking for. Next up is Hana Khan Carries On by Uzma Jalaluddin. This reminds me a lot of a faux love story, so I definitely won't be able to read these too close together, or else I will get them mixed up, just because that's how I am. So this is actually about competing halal restaurants, and I think this one is set in Toronto as well, but I'm not entirely sure. I know for sure that the author is Canadian, which is nice, but she is the author of Aisha at Last, which I haven't gotten a chance to read, but this one sounded totally up my alley with the restaurants, the competition, like it sounded so amazing. So this is definitely one that I am eager to get to. Also, I hope that I like it because the cover for the like actual not ARC edition is gorgeous, and I really want an excuse to pick that up. Next up is The Cost of Knowing by Brittney Morris. Once again, when I was filming that video about books that you need to read, I was talking about Slay, which is the debut novel from Brittney Morris, and it made me remember how much I loved her writing, and then I instantly remembered that I had this on my TBR. So definitely want to get to this one soon. This is a story where it's kind of a twist on a contemporary once again. The main character has the ability to see the future with objects that he touches, and he ends up touching something and sees the imminent death of his brother. So obviously that is going to be a really difficult thing. He's going to try and prevent it and have to deal with that, and it just seems like it could be like, I feel like everything here is heartbreaking, but that's honestly what I'm getting from this. I think my heart is gonna break, but I also feel like it will be really enjoyable, a story about brotherhood and all that comes with that, and I'm really excited for it. And finally is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. This book features Own Voices Native American representation, and it also is a murder mystery, which I did not expect. It's like a thriller murder mystery, and it just seems really different. So the main character ends up working with the FBI to try and figure out this like new drug that has been coming out and find what it is and all of that. It seems like it's going to be a really twisted story, lots going on, and that definitely has me wanting to read it soon. Like an edge of your seat kind of read. I think that's what I'm going to get, and the second I'm in the mood for one of those, I will be going to this. Okay, so that is all for today's video. Those are just some random books that I would really like to read soon. I don't have a particular time set in mind, but these are probably what I'll be gravitating towards if like I don't really know what I want to read. I have the problem where I just want to read everything that's on my TBR all at once, and obviously you can't do that, so it's just the ultimate struggle. But I really enjoyed this, like just talking about kind of some random books that have been sticking out to me lately, so I hope you enjoyed it too. I will definitely try and implement it more on my channel, but if you have read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts on them because I would love to know, and I will see you guys in a new video soon. Bye!